I would like to introduce Narendra Bhandari for our topic Scaling Deep Tech from India. Narendra is the general partner at Seafund, where he oversees early stage investments in teams and founders who are building disruptive, scalable technologies in India. Often, deep tech product companies find it challenging to assess if there is a market for the innovations they seek to productize. Today, Narendra will give us his insights on the how to scale deep tech companies from India, what is the market like, and how to go about it. Over to you, Narendra.
All right, welcome everybody. We're at day two of Future Forge. I think Amol and Nehal have given you enough context of day one and what we want day two to sort of look like. Let me quickly give you a landscape of deep tech, right? I mean, Amol talked about, where do we stand, right? This is a survey which Nasscom had done and actually collected the data. So we're looking at thousands of startups, right? I mean, 27,000 tech startups of the 100,000 odd overall startups in the country. And over 3,000 have been classified as deep tech, and within that, almost 500, 485 plus, have been classified as inventive deep tech, right? Something which they're fundamentally trying to create sort of new. This data is important because, if I look at the deep tech, evolution over the last few years, and I'll talk about the deep tech cloud, um, it's quite significant to note that the amount of money these guys combined have raised, is running into over $3 billion, which at least from an investor perspective is one testament in terms of how good these startups are able to attract sort of capital. Now the current mix seems to be that 70 to 80% are in the B2B space, but I would hazard a guess that many of them are B2B and more to say B2C infrastructure, or what many of us call it B2B2C model also. So I think the point here is we've got a very vibrant deep tech landscape building up in India. I mean, I would say they're in our sort of early stages. Good, reasonable amount of funding, but we'll see how do we get this to scale. Now, within this context, Nasscom several years ago had launched what is called Deep Tech Club. I happened to be part of that journey from sort of pretty much day zero when many of us were brainstorming in one of our sort of product, team meetings. Today, after several years, I mean, I would say the status as presented by Nasscom is we've got 300 odd startups in this batch. The overall impact these startups have done is there's almost 13 Series A, 4 Series B plus, and several of them have gone through M&As, and about $200 million odd raised by these combined companies. What is also more important is there's almost 150 to 200 mentors active on the platform. Right now, these guys are volunteering their time to help you as a startup either get connections or get hiring the help, or find capital partners or debt partners, etc. So that's the additional power of the platform which you have as a startup when you get selected into sort of the deep tech club. Now, what's the composition of this club so far, right? You can see that there's a good 60% of these in the chart on your right, which are delving into the AI, deep learning space, vision space, and then the rest of them are distributed across robotics, cloud, blockchain, etc. Right now, they are also relatively well distributed across tier one towns. Tier two and tier three towns still form a smaller percentage, but within the tier one towns, you'll see the popular places, Bangalore, Delhi, Pune, etc., having a good Chennai, having a good mix of these startups. And excuse me, the verticals are also relatively well distributed, not just in the software and SaaS space, but ed tech, agri tech, clean tech emerging as a fast number. So if you guys haven't checked it out, go check out Nasscom Deep Tech Club, see what the benefits are, and more importantly, figure out what some of the others are doing as you go down deeper in your journey. Now, one thing which I wanted to talk about was I showed you a bunch of industry data. I also want to talk a little bit about what I have personally heard in the form of pitches just in the last few months, right? Now, this is my personal experiences, right? I mean, these are pitches I have heard directly, which give you a sense of how deep tech has sort of progressed. Just in the last probably month plus, I must have met at least 3 to 4 companies who are building rockets or trying to build rockets, who've tested engines, liquid engines, liquid fuel, solid fuel, different innovations in fuel. Some of them have put in an extra thrust in there, and the rockets they're getting the rockets to fly higher. And I would say the average age of the people within these companies is not more than 25, right? One example. Met some very interesting people in the retail who are combining AR. Well, a lot of people have done that in the past, but combining AR and getting it to be smarter using very interesting mix of AI and customized your combination of mobile platforms, in-store platforms to be able to give you a fantastic, sort of retail experience, right? All these which I'm talking about are pitches I've heard directly. People are looking at soil health, right? Soil health from different aspects, from a vantage point of the satellite taking images and trying to figure out, from a vantage point of a bunch of IoT devices within the field, trying to predict soil health, which has bearing on decision making in terms of what kind of fertilizer, what kind of water, and what kind of crops, etc. they should be sort of putting in, with a lot of deep tech technologies built in terms of that prediction. Now, we've all seen videos, pictures, visualizations of drones doing deliveries. Drones are doing deliveries in India, right? Um, and when you think of deliveries, don't just think of a food package being delivered to your house or your favorite mobile phone being delivered to your house. There are drones doing large scale deliveries, right? Over a 50, 100 kilometer distance. They're going from bigger warehouses to smaller warehouses, most of the times beyond the line of sight, and carrying payloads up to 10, 15, sort of 20 kilos type of range. Some in pilots, some are actually doing commercial deliveries. I've seen very interesting examples of making driving safer. Driving safer, not just it's a combination of imaging, lidar, ADAS, and a bunch of other technologies, so that your driving experiences is safer than it was before. I was not a great student of electronics and waves and radars and stuff, but the number of companies I've met just in the last 2 months where people are coming and pitching beamforming technologies, better radars, cameras which can capture 7 to 8 to 10 kilometers worth pictures, using ultrasonic technology and improving manufacturing techniques. Just crazy amount of tech being used, companies being built in India, and helping many of the Indian customers and then overseas customers. Energy management, right? We've all heard in the past about IoT sensors and HVAC units and lighting and things, motion sensors, but now energy management is moving to a different level in buildings and factories, right? I mean, there are sensors which sit near meters and figure out the kind of load. There are predictive models being built in terms of consumption. There are imaging, which is a combination of people moving into the building, load on each floor, and then trying to figure out analytical models and actually help with saving and help companies move towards their net zero goals. Right? Enterprises are mining their data in a significant way, and I would say the most stark, some of the examples enterprises was how AI powered CRM solutions are coming up, right? These are not just bots giving you some answers. These are, the ability to book online things, the ability to have voice recognition combined with AI, combined with languages, combined with, logic of the business stepwise, integrated into the workflow of some of the, enterprises to be able to offer their customers a better solution, right? Electric mobility, I can't even start to talk about how much, including some of our portfolio companies, how much electric mobility is moving forward. And this is not just in terms of people building better commercial vehicles or better drones or potentially better cars. It's just all aspects of the electric mobility, components, warehouse movement, port movement, battery management systems, cell management systems, swapping technologies, robotics use in swapping technologies, all kinds of elements, which are coming in. Several of these companies are relatively well funded. Imaging and AI, it's just endless list of use cases, which where people have come in and shown us pictures, right? Measuring objects, people for safety, for counting, for a variety of scenarios, combining traffic intelligence with pollution parameters, health parameters being scanned just on a mobile phone and helping with loan disbursement, helping with insurance disbursement, etc. Safety in the factories, safety at workplace, skill development, difficult skills being taught using imaging, using AI, predictability in arm movements, predictability in physical aspects. It's just phenomenal, right? As I said, I was part of the Deep Tech Club formation early on. When I see some of these things being played out, it's just heartwarming that we as a country and the startup ecosystem has moved significantly forward, which is awesome. Now, some of the challenges do remain, right? Are we scaling fast enough? Are we getting customers fast enough? What should we do? You'll hear a whole bunch of sessions throughout the day. I'll just spend a minute and then hand it back and talk about what potentially things you should probably look at, right? Um, every deep tech company I speak to, probably within a month or 2 months or so, I speak to somebody else who's doing maybe something similar or something slightly smarter or maybe even behind. So I push the founders to say, go deeper into your tech, of course, with a business context, so that you build a bigger moat, you build a deeper moat, you build a rich, and if you're pitching yourself as a deep tech startup, don't come to us or to other investors and just say, I'm integrating a bunch of APIs and building an AI solution, right? What is the tech which you're building on? What is going to be your differentiator with somebody else who's just got better programmers won't be able to do, right? You've heard enough of the AI stuff, unless you've been under a rock for a while. I think the question as each one of us should ask is, what else can it do for me, right? As an individual, as a company, as an organization, as a society, because it is going to do stuff. Now, this is not just that you can write your document faster or write your code faster and respond to customers faster. All of that, and then you push yourself to say, what else? What else, right? What this will do to you is help you with point number one, which is integrate much deeper tech into sort of what you're doing. GTM, for the folks who don't know what this term means, go to market, right? Iterate, go to market, take your technology to customers. There's nothing like getting customer feedback. Everybody knows it. I meet enough founders, enough people who like, I'm still building my tech. Well, how many customers have you spoken to? Have you shown it? Have you piloted? Have you tested? And then once that's done, scale, right? And we'll have enough sessions during the day which talks about scaling. So do pay a lot of focus to the GTM, or get somebody in your team to just be obsessed about taking your sort of products to market. That's a mechanism of scaling, and then coming back to one and two, which is building deeper tech, maybe to help you scale faster. Winter, seasonal. I don't want to say anything more about it. Seasons change, scenarios change. Things will sort of improve. Network across the ecosystem. We tell this to people enough. Everybody knows it, but we see just evidence of not this happening. There's incredible amount of resources available to you. Deep Tech Club was one example. Reach out to people, reach out to principals, reach out to mentors, and take help of networks so that you can scale on tech side and on the GTM side in a significant way, right? And some of the founders during the day will talk to you about how the value of the sort of network is to help scale your deep tech startup. I want to stop here and say, hey, you're going to have a bunch of fantastic sessions today. I think what you want to walk away is that the deep tech ecosystem is vibrant, it's thriving in terms of number of startups. And at the same time, we do continuously have the challenge of, can we scale it faster? Is there enough market for some of the things which you're building? There are questions in people's mind, is the funding. So there are enough evidence of these things improving, but you're gonna have to use your network to be able to sort of move forward. I think the ecosystem is just getting started, just in terms of value and funding which it will attract.